Good morning and welcome to Rising. Thank you so much for tuning in. We want to get straight to our top story. I'm joined today by Michael Starr Hopkins. Thanks so much for being in the chair.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's get to it. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi equivocated, in my opinion, that's how I would describe it, when asked about Joe Biden continuing to run for re-election. Let's listen to her interview this morning on MSNBC.
Does he have your support to be the head of the Democratic ticket?
As long as the president it's up to the president to decide if he is going to run. We're all encouraging him to make that decision because time is running short. I think overwhelming support of the caucus. It's not for me to say. I'm not the head of the caucus anymore, but he's beloved. He is respected, and people want him to make that decision, not me.
He has said he has made the decision. He has said firmly this week he is going to run. Do you want him to run?
I want him to do whatever he decides to do, and that's the way it is. Whatever he decides, we go with.
And then she went on to say that we should give him some breathing room this week and wait for the NATO summit to be over before having more conversations in this regard. I'm listening to this and going, you're saying he should make the decision and you stand by his decision. He has made the decision. The decision is made. He made it when he decided to run for re-election, and then he's made it again repeatedly in the wake of these calls for him to step aside. He has said defiantly that only the Lord Almighty could force him from this race. So what do you think, what is she talking about here?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the conversation that we're seeing across the Democrats right now, whether it's on the Hill or the campaign. There's this private conversation, which is, I don't think Joe Biden should be running anymore. It doesn't look like he's strong enough to run. But publicly, there's this doubling down on Joe Biden's our guy. We're seeing it from progressives. You know, it's...
So here's... Maybe how I'm supposed to read this is she's saying, yeah, he gets to make that decision. Okay, again, the decision is made. Is she saying in a kind of, like, I'm thinking of, like, The Sopranos, which is one of my favorite television shows, when Tony tells one of his top guys, Ralph, that Ralph gets to make the decision about whether they whack this kid who screwed up. And Ralph's like, you know, I really want to do whatever you want to do here, Tony. And Tony's like, no, I said you get to make
your
the
decision.
Even though Tony clearly wants him, absolutely thinks he needs to whack the guy. But he won't say that. He's saying, nope, I stand by your decision. Is that what we're getting at? Like, what she really wants is him to step aside.
Yeah.
And so instead of saying, I think that, she's saying he should make the decision. And then, like, in between the lines, and the decision is he should step aside.
Yeah, well, I think what we're really seeing is a lack of political courage among Democrats. Look, I love Joe Biden. I think he's a good man. I think he's done a good job as a first term. But we all saw that debate, and the debate wasn't an isolated incident. I mean, there has been a lead up for months of what we saw at the debate prior. And so I think what you're seeing when Pelosi kind of equivocates and says that maybe he should go, but it's up to him. We all know what needs to happen. Like Joe Biden, it's gonna be tough.
But we know what needs to happen, but it's not. I think it's going to happen.
It's very Trumpian. I mean, if you think about the Access Hollywood tape and how there were multiple Republicans calling for him to step aside, and he just refused to do
nothing.
it.
They could do nothing.
They could do nothing. And
he's on the other foot now.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the party kind of hostage.
Yeah. All right. The Democratic caucus is clearly torn over President Biden. Despite a growing rebel faction urging Biden to exit the race, the president not budging whatsoever or really doing anything. Is he, in fact, holding the caucus hostage? Former White House press secretary for Trump and Fox News host Kayleigh McEnany spoke with Axios reporter Alex Thompson about just that. Let's listen.
Privately, some Democrats have told me, they sort of feel like the president is holding them hostage by essentially being defiant and staying in. There's also concern by some Democrats about his inner circle and feeling that he is surrounded by too many people telling him what he wants to hear.
The closed-door meeting on Tuesday, Democrats chose to do nothing for now. That despite earlier in the week when senators, including Chris Murphy, Patty Murray, and Michael Bennet, warned Biden has to do at least more to show strength against Donald Trump if he is to continue in the race. There are still loyalists, however. New York Senator Chuck Schumer is standing by his man for now. He told reporters repeatedly, I'm with Joe.
Over in the House, Democrats had a come to Jesus moment on Biden's fate. Despite earlier cries that Joe had to go, that effort appears to be crumbling. According to a report in Axios, instead of a resolution, there were tears in the meeting. Some lawmakers described the meeting as tense, and others said that, quote, there were actual tears from people and not for Biden.
Tears. These are the tears of unfathomable sadness. Delicious, delicious tears.
I mean,
to take a South Park phrase.
Yeah, right, a little Eric Cartman.
Yeah.
When you look at the polling, you really have to wonder when Democrats are going to make that move. I mean, polling came out yesterday.
The move from crying to active tantrum to throwing things?
To some, I mean, look, at a certain
They
point,
can't do anything.
At a certain point, I mean, you've already started to see the leaks. There have been reports about Hunter attending meetings. There's been kind of knives out. It's only going to get more aggressive as the polling kind of data shows that the gap's widening. You're starting to hear it from, frontline members. That's really where the weight's going to come out. There's a poll that came out. It showed in Wisconsin, Biden's underperforming by 12 points. If we can't win Wisconsin, there is no path to re-election.
That's what it looks like, but there's no path to re-election for Biden if he's not running for re-election. So he's going to do it. The Democrats turning on him. So it's been interesting to watch. So far, he's having more trouble with what we would describe, I believe, as sort of more centrist and moderate Democrats. Perhaps that's because they tend to be in districts that are swingier, that are more vulnerable to Republican challengers. So they have been more hostile toward Biden in this moment. The progressives, the squad, we talked about AOC yesterday. They have surprised me in how supportive of Biden they are at this moment, because they've never been very supportive of Biden. In fact, they seem to, their stated deal is opposition to his policies, his broken promises to them on student loans, and the Israel policy has so inflamed them. These are not policies that I agree with them on, but it's what's important to them, and Biden has not been with them on them. But there's been AOC didn't call for him to get out.
No, AOC doubled down, said that she's for the president. Congresswoman Omar said she's for the president. The Washington Post had an interesting article today that talked about kind of behind the scenes in the squad. And the squad's rationale for doubling down on Biden appears to be that they believe in the next term, should he have re-election, that his agenda would really be focused on kind of the things that they want.
I don't believe they believe that. I don't believe that. So how could they believe that? I wonder if it's like a deep dislike of Kamala Harris, or a sense that she is even more of a traitor to progressive causes than Joe Biden. I wonder if that's it. I don't know.
It's interesting because they put her in a really awkward position, because on one hand, she would be the presumptive nominee should he step aside.
Of course.
But on the other hand, every day when they give comments saying that there's no one else that can beat Trump, that there's no one else better positioned for this, it's a knock on her, and it knocks her chances should he step aside, or, down the line, should something happen and he be incapacitated.
All right, we'll have much more of that to discuss on Rising Today. Stay tuned.